President Trump has suggested, without evidence, that former President Joe Biden delayed sharing his cancer diagnosis, and a Congresswoman has been charged with assaulting ICE agents at a detention facility in New Jersey. Good morning, I'm Corva Coleman from NPR News, and here are today's top stories. President Trump has suggested, without evidence, former President Joe Biden delayed sharing his diagnosis of prostate cancer. NPR's Mara Liasson reports.
Trump initially said he thought Biden's new health challenge was, quote, very sad, but then he seemed to accuse Biden of hiding the information about his cancer.
I'm surprised that it wasn't, the public wasn't notified a long time ago, because to get to stage 9, that's a long time.
Biden's cancer is stage 4, not stage 9. Trump may have been confusing that with Biden's Gleason score of 9. A Gleason score measures the aggressiveness of cancer cells. The U.S. Preventative Services Task Force does not recommend that men over the age of 70 get routine prostate-specific antigen screening because the potential harms outweigh the benefits. Trump's latest comments were in line with his repeated attacks on Biden's physical and mental health. Mara Liasson, NPR News.
Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelenskyy says he is awaiting the Kremlin's proposal on how to end Russia's war in Ukraine. NPR's Polina Litvinova reports Zelenskyy spoke after talking with President Trump yesterday.
Zelenskyy said he spoke with President Trump twice, before and after Trump called Russian President Vladimir Putin. The Ukrainian president said his country is willing for peace, but won't agree on territorial concessions.
Виводити наші війська з наших територій.
No one will withdraw our troops from our territories, he said. There will be no ultimatums and no one will surrender their land, their territory, their people, their homes. Zelenskyy also asked Trump about sanctions if Russia doesn't agree to end the war, adding that American banking and energy sanctions would cause significant economic challenges for Russia. Polina Litvinova, NPR News, Kyiv.
President Trump is on Capitol Hill this hour meeting with House Republicans. He's urging them to vote for a GOP budget bill that includes spending for his domestic priorities. That includes extending tax cuts that will expire this year. But not all House Republicans have signed on. They're worried about the debt. The Nonpartisan Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget estimates the House bill could add well over $3 trillion to the U.S. debt over the next decade. House Speaker Mike Johnson is confident he will gain enough GOP support for the bill.
We're almost there, and I'm very optimistic that we will find the right equilibrium point to get this bill delivered.
He can only afford to lose a couple of Republican votes, otherwise the bill will fail. All Democrats are in opposition. The acting U.S. Attorney for New Jersey says she is filing federal assault charges against a U.S. Congresswoman from that state. This follows a confrontation earlier this month outside a federal immigration center in Newark. NPR's Giles Snyder says the Democratic Congresswoman from New Jersey has now spoken out.
New Jersey House Democrat LaMonica McIver is pushing back, saying the assault charge against her is purely political and aimed at deterring lawful legislative oversight. The charge stems from a clash with ICE agents outside a migrant detention facility in Newark earlier this month. Newark Mayor Ras Baraka was arrested. The trespassing charge against him is being dropped.
NPR's Giles Snyder reporting. The Trump administration is taking steps to limit people who use government food assistance in buying soda and energy drinks. Nebraska's governor says his state will be one of the first to adopt the policy. NPR's Katie Riddle reports.
U.S. Secretary of Agriculture Brooke Rollins has signed a waiver that she says will remove soda and energy drinks from the list of things people can buy with their SNAP benefits in certain states. SNAP stands for Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. It's the primary federal food subsidy program in the U.S. Rollins calls the waiver the first of its kind and says it is, quote, a historic step to make America healthy again. While many food policy experts acknowledge that sugar is a contributor to chronic disease, they argue people need more choices, not fewer. Rollins said governors of at least 6 other states will participate. She called them, quote, pioneers in improving the health of our nation.
The National Transportation Safety Board says there is no structural damage to the Brooklyn Bridge after it was hit Saturday by a Mexican naval vessel. 2 crew members were killed and several others were hurt. NTSB member Michael Graham says his agency is investigating 3 issues.
First being the crew and the operation of the crew, the vessel and the condition of the vessel, and finally the environment, and that includes the weather, the wind, the current, the tide, in the operating department of that.
But Mexico has not granted the NTSB access to the ship or allowed members to speak to the crew. Authorities in Louisiana have recaptured a fourth inmate who escaped from a New Orleans jail last Friday, but 6 others remain on the loose. NPR's Giles Snyder reports state officials are launching an investigation into operations at the city jail.
Louisiana Attorney General Liz Murrill says the investigation is aimed at preventing any future incident, saying the investigation will look into any deficiencies that may have led to the jailbreak. The sheriff who oversees the jail says defective locks were a key factor and that the inmates might have received help from within her department.
NPR's Giles Snyder reporting. Netflix says it will pick up the iconic children's show Sesame Street. That was dropped by Max earlier. Under the new agreement with Netflix, PBS will run new episodes of Sesame Street on the same day and date as they stream on Netflix. Separately, the animated children's favorite Peppa Pig is a big sister again. The animated character surprised fans this morning with news that her animated little sister, Evie, has been born. This is NPR.